Hey everybody, I'm Joshua Orro, the Mustang Prince, and welcome to Mustang Prince Orro Reports. Now, today, I'd like to talk about a movie that I've been wanting to share ever since the beginning of 2024. But before I get started, let me tell you about one of the weirdest and trippiest books from the 1970s, Freaky Friday. Written and published in 1972 by Mary Rogers, the story focuses on a day in the life of 13-year-old Annabelle Andrews and her mother, who spend the day in each other's bodies. Now, I haven't really read this book yet, but I have heard that it's really hilarious. Plus, I heard that some folks say it might be a modern retelling of Vice Versa, A Lesson to Fathers, an 1882 novel in which the protagonists are a father and a son. Also, I'm really surprised of how many times Disney adapted Mary Rogers' book into a movie. First, there was a theatrical film in 1976 starring Barbara Harris and Jodie Foster. There was a TV special which premiered in 1995 on ABC starring Shelley Long and Gabby Hoffman. There was another theatrical film released in 2003 starring Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan. And there was another TV special which premiered in 2018 based on the 2016 stage musical starring Heidi Blickenstaff and Cozy Zollendorf. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Speaking of which, my friends at Musical Theater Village kicked off 2024 with this freaky and trippy show. And after seeing it on stage with my pal Igor, I thought it was both weird and pretty funny. Now, as I said earlier, I've been wanting to do a blog of Freaky Friday for weeks, but every time I tried to, I just kept getting sidetracked by family events, workouts with my sister, and a few other things. But now, because Her Royal Majesty, Queen Denise Fenton, is recovering from a heart attack, I might as well give it a shot in hopes to help her feel better. But you may be asking, which one of these 4 film adaptations am I gonna blog? Well, why don't I look at the very first version I ever watched? Released on August 6, 2003, the movie is Freaky Friday. And now, on for the plot of the movie. This film follows single mother Dr. Tess Coleman and her teenage daughter Anna, who simply cannot understand each other's preferences. After receiving cryptic fortunes at a Chinese restaurant, the two wake up the next day to discover that they have somehow switched bodies. Unable to switch back, they are forced to masquerade as one another until a solution can be found. In the process, they develop a new sense of respect and understanding for one another. So, what are my thoughts on the movie? Well, while this isn't technically one of my favorites when it comes to Disney, I find this movie to be both freaky, silly, and weird, but also pretty entertaining and funny at some parts. And to further explain what I mean, let's move on to Mustang Notes. Now, this was Disney's third film adaptation of Freaky Friday after 1976 and 1995. The origins for the movie came when producer Andrew Gunn was called by Buena Vista president Nina Jacobson, who wanted him to make films for her. Once they met, Gunn told Jacobson that he wanted to either do a new Freaky Friday adaptation or another Witch Mountain film as their options for him. Jacobson was unsure due to the Disney Channel remake, but ultimately agreed. Gunn thus sat with Walt Disney Company executive Kristen Burr and screenwriter Heather Hatch at Starbucks to spitball ideas or do notes for the screenplay of either film, until The Princess Diary was released in 2001, which demonstrated to the studio that they could make a successful film starring girls with their moms, prompting them to try with Freaky Friday. Director Mark Waters met with Gunn and Burr back when he was in a state that he felt that he wouldn't get any directing jobs anymore, feeling that he should tank the meeting because of his feelings that the script at that time wasn't any good. But he enjoyed the idea and had fond memories of the original film. Now, the original script for the Freaky Friday remake was about a psychiatrist's mother with a daughter writing for her school newspaper who wished to interview Gwen Stefani at the House of Blues. But director Waters felt that having both a nerd daughter and a nerd mom basically made them just switch places and age in nerddom, and instead preferred for a rebel daughter and a straight-laced mother, due to feeling that it would be more interesting. After proposing that idea, Waters felt that Gunn and Burr wouldn't call him back, but they instead called him to meet Jacobson, who approved his idea and greenlit the film. After the movie's theatrical release, it grossed over $160 million worldwide on a budget of only $26 million, marking it a commercial success, and it additionally received largely positive reviews from critics, who praised the two leading actresses' performances. Now, when I first heard of this movie back in 2003, I wasn't technically interested in seeing it due to the fact that, at the time, I thought the idea of body switching was kinda weird from my perspective. Plus, I have seen that concept done before with Jimmy Neutron and the 2002 Scooby-Doo film. However, now that I'm older, well, I still don't like this movie as much as most live-action Disney films. I understand that this movie is about seeing things from others' perspectives. Still, I think A Royal Problem from My Little Pony Friendship is Magic was handled a bit better when it comes to that moral. Anyway, compared to the 1976 film and the 2016 stage musical, both of which I got to watch recently, where the body switching was caused by a wish and by a magic hourglass, the switching in this version is caused by a mysterious and magical Chinese fortune cookie. And throughout this movie, I find it both interesting, but also pretty weird that Anna and Tess go through each other's lives, whether being at school, at work, etc., and they both learn what each other has been going through. However, my favorite part of the film was the wedding rehearsal scene nearing the end, which to me was a very emotional moment, mostly due to Anna's speech. Another thing that I like in this movie are the two rock songs sung by Pinkslip. Those being Take Me Away, which is both rehearsed in Anna's garage and performed at the House of Blues, and Ultimate, which is performed during the end credits. To me, ever since I first heard them on the radio, these two songs are absolutely awesome to listen to. Since rock and roll is one of my favorite music genres next to pop, soul, country, and disco. As for the comedy, well, I thought it was okay, but it could sometimes be a little mature. No surprise, since this movie is PG-13. And that's all I got for Mustang notes. So let's move on to the film's cast. Let's start with Anna Coleman, played by Lindsay Lohan, best known from 1998's The Parent Trap, along with Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen, 2004's Mean Girls, and Herbie Fully Loaded. And after cleaning herself up, she got to be in Falling for Christmas on Netflix. Now, originally, Lindsay's character was written as a goth, but she did not think that anyone would ever relate to that, and she decided to dress in a preppy style for her audition, and Anna ended up being rewritten as a grunge alternate rock teenager. To me, like some teenage girls, Anna likes sleeping in late, dressing fashionable, and she has a little brother who annoys her and invades her privacy. Also, during school, Anna has to put up with an abusive English teacher and a popular high school brat. While in her mom's body, not only does Anna work at Tess's psychologist job, but she also attends Harry's parent-teacher conference where she learns that he secretly admires her. She gets interviewed on TV for her mom's book, and she plays her guitar solo backstage at the House of Blues. By the way, Lindsay Lohan trained for 1 year to learn to play the guitar before production, which I think is both hardcore and well prepared. Next is her mom, Tess, played by Jamie Lee Curtis. Best known for playing Laurie Strode in the Halloween franchise, she got to be in John Carpenter's The Fog and 1980's Prom Night, along with Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and the Island of Misfit Toys, 2023's Haunted Mansion movie, and she'll be in Borderlands this summer. Now, I need to let everybody know that this was the very first movie that I ever watched which featured Jamie Lee Curtis, and ever since 2003, I felt that she looked almost identical to my mother, mostly due to their hair and that they were both born in 1958. Anyway, Tess is a widowed mother as well as a hardworking writer, psychologist, and author of Through the Looking Glass: Sentences in Retrograde. Plus, she's always involved with discussions, especially with Anna, like when she punishes her by cutting off her privacy privileges and taking down her bedroom door due to her getting detention twice, and when she refuses to let Anna go to the band audition due to it being the same night as her wedding rehearsal dinner. While in Anna's body, Tess attends Anna's classes, she takes her test, while also getting revenge on Stacy, and she scolds her English teacher, Mr. Bates. And during the audition, she realizes how exciting it is to be on stage and why Anna loves her band. Next we have Tess's fiance, Ryan, played by Mark Harmon, who got to voice in the Legend of Tarzan animated series and Justice League Crisis on Two Earths. In my eyes, Ryan seems like a kind and generous supporting character, and he makes a decent father figure, despite that Anna was not ready for him and her mom to get married due to her biological dad's death 3 years prior. Plus, my favorite scene involving Ryan is when he gives Tess in Anna's body permission to go to the audition in hopes of winning her acceptance, and when he encourages Anna in Tess's body to support the band. Next up is Anna's crush, Jake, played by Chad Michael Murray, who after this movie got to be in A Cinderella Story with Hilary Duff. In my opinion, Jake seems like a sharp and nice looking guy, and I like the part where he helps Tess in Anna's body finish her test, the part where he gives Anna in Tess's body a ride on his motorcycle, and where he supports Pink Slip at the House of Blues. However, while Jake does seem like a nice guy, and he and Anna do make a nice couple, my one nitpick with him is when he stalks Anna and Tess during the night of the wedding rehearsal. This is Anna's English teacher, Mr. Elton Bates, played by Stephen Tobolowsky, whom I remember from Dr. Jekyll and Ms. Hyde, The Jungle Book Mowgli's Story, The Brave Little Toaster Goes to Mars, The Country Bears, and Garfield the Movie. This guy is known to hold grudges for long periods of times, as he was still upset about Tess rejecting him years ago. When Bates gets Anna as one of his students, he does everything he can to torment her, like giving her Fs on all of her work despite good quality. He sends her to detention when she tries to ask about her grade, and when he gets on her back when she talks to her love interest, Jake. Thankfully, after Tess scolds him and threatens to inform the school board, Bates gets a guilty reaction on his face, and he stops being unfair to Anna. Next is Stacy Hinkhouse, played by Julie Gonzalo, whom was also in A Cinderella Story and Dodgeball. When Anna and Stacy were young, they used to be best friends and did everything together. However, by the time they reached high school, Stacy becomes a cruel bully and went from being Anna's friend to tormenting her and getting her in trouble just for the fun and popularity status. Thankfully, Stacy gets her comeuppance when Tess erases all of Stacy's answers from her test and writes "I'm stupid" in their places. Other members of the cast includes Ryan Malgarini as Anna's brother Harry, the late Harold Gold as Grandpa Allen, Christina Vidal and Haley Hudson as Anna's bandmates Maddie and Peg, and Rosalind Chow and Lucille Song as Pepe and her meddling mother. And now, on to my final words. Overall, 2003's Freaky Friday may not be one of my personal favorites when it comes to Disney due to a few weird and freaky moments. However, as an adult, I do understand the film's plot about a mom and a daughter trying to understand each other and the moral of seeing things from another perspective. Plus, the cinematography for the time is decent. The two main actresses do great performances. The other characters range from okay to decent. The antagonists, like Bates and Stacy, are just plain jerks. And the songs by Pink Slip are really awesome to listen to. Also, while there is comedy in the movie, I didn't think it was all that funny. Yeah, I did chuckle at a few scenes, but that's about it, so there's something for you. However, if you don't like films with body switching, then this movie isn't for you. But if you're a fan of the Mary Rogers book and just don't give a drat, then go ahead and give it a watch. But I still do not recommend it for folks under the age of 13, though. I give this film a 63% out of 100. Now, before I go, I need to give everybody a heads up that as of May 2023, it's been reported that a sequel is in development with both Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan reprising their roles, Elise Hollander penning the script, and filming is scheduled to begin sometime during this year in 2024. Now, I don't know about you, but I hope this upcoming sequel will be worth it for the fans. Well, anyway, that's all for now. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for my next blog, Mustang Power.